Hey everybody, it's Brian. Here's a look at the yard at the beginning of July. Now, if you don't want to listen to me talking about all the plants, go ahead and check the link in the description for this video on the Vibes channel. That's just to music, not me talking, explaining anything. Just chill out and enjoy the music in the video. Otherwise, on this one, I'm going to tell you what's going on and some of the stuff that's happened. So we've got one little section here still left untouched. Right now I've got a couple of new mule palms that I just got that are sitting here, and angel wing begonia experimental plant there, but this will be a spot that I work on in the coming weeks just to get that the way that I want it. A couple leftover Canna Lilies that popped up. And we've got the Pindo Palm there in the pot. This is one of my older Pindos. This is a Pygmy Day Palm. I put it here in the corner just to get it used to some sun, and decided I liked it there and left it. We repainted the shed here, made it look like a little casita. It's just the pool equipment in there. This back area is still unfinished as well. Right now it's just holding a few extra Windmill Palms that I got a few weeks back. Not that I need those, but I can't pass up a good deal on palms, so I'll use them or give them to friends. They'll get some use somewhere. But still need to put bamboo here. I gotta wait for the bamboo to finish all of its new shoots before I can trim it out and move it back to this spot. These are a few Trachycarpus ticals that I ordered. They were at least sold as ticals. We'll see what they end up being as they get bigger. Our hydrangea is blooming, and this is the first year that it's blooming. This is a hydrangea that I started from about a 2-inch cutting that I stole from the CEO's mom's house. Cut off a piece of one of her hydrangeas, and it's finally in bloom. So that's pretty exciting. The bamboo, these are all the new shoots here over on this side. They're pulling out their branches. These will start leafing here in the coming weeks as well and fill all of that in, so it'll be nice and full on this side. This side also has the flowering banana. So this is a Musa Bastions. Pushed out this flower pod about a week and a half ago, and that is progressing well. The bananas overall, they're still a little bit behind this year because of the cold spring we had. They're a few leaves shorter than what they would typically have, but they're still doing well, and lots of new pups. I mean, I've cleaned this out a few times, and there's probably 10 pups in here that I could go clean out. You can see there one of the new lights I put in as well. This is an orange hot lava. I was a little worried about it because I put it out really fast. I kept it in the garage over the winter, and I put it out too fast, and it lost most of its leaves, but you can see it's grown back quite a few and has been flowering the last couple of weeks, so he's doing okay, and one of my favorite plants in the yard. I think the flowers are super cool. Looking at more of the bananas, we've got a second flower pod over here on the other side. This one's about a week behind the other, but this will continue to progress into a flower and eventually bananas. You can see more of the bamboo here. This spot is mostly going to fill in, which I'm excited about. This was one of the bare spots. All of this bamboo I transplanted last year. I divided from other bamboo that I had in the yard, and so there were a bunch of spots. This one's going to mostly fill in, although the one on the left here didn't really grow very many new shoots on this side. It pushed out 2 little shoots that didn't get very far. So there'll still be a little bit of a gap there, but once the new shoots leaf out, it'll be mostly filled in. Then on the other side, we got some good new shoots that popped out that'll fill the last part of that box and make that full. Now, I dug a couple of spots here in the strawberries, and I added a few pineapple lilies that are just starting to come out. There's just a few of them in each of these spots here. So I planted 9 bulbs in total in the back. Cool looking flowers. I will need to dig these bulbs out probably to keep them alive because they don't like water, and we get a lot of that over the winter. So, but for now, waiting for them to come in and push out some cool flowers. This is one of my sable minors. These things, we've just not had a lot of heat and they grow really slow. This one is 4 years old. This was the second palm that I bought, or second type of palm that I bought. So I bought them at the towards the end of summer 4 years ago. There are two of them here. One of them's doing better than the other, but you can see that's not very big for 4 years. This is one of my Fortunae, my windmill palms that I have. This one I planted 2 years ago. It's about doubled in size since I got it. It does continue to grow and conflict with the neighbor's cedar tree here, but for this one I just keep cutting the cedar tree back. Anytime it touches it, I cut another 6 to 12 inches off that cedar tree, and I'll just keep cutting it as it continues to grow, but it's done real well here. Then this is a Kong plant that I put in maybe a month ago. It did really bad at first. It was pretty traumatized by the planting, and I was worried about it, but it's grown in quite a few new leaves and is looking pretty healthy at this point. And then this is some of the elephant ears that I planted. They're doing okay here. This spot doesn't actually get a ton of sun, and so I think that's held them back just a little bit, but first year they're looking okay for now. The chief inspector decided to dig up these lilies in the back. I tried to replant them, but you can see they're pretty sad looking right now. That was just a few days back, so we'll see what happens to those. Not looking positive right now. We've got this color guard yucca that has flowered this year. The flowers themselves are still waiting to come out, but they should be visible soon. Inspector comes in to take a look, make sure I'm on task. I'm thinking about maybe cleaning up this trunk a little bit. This is a palm tree that was original to the house when we bought it 5 years ago. Underneath it, I planted some shade plants here because the cedar tree from my neighbors puts a lot of shade in this area as well. So we've got some pink spike and a couple of local ferns. You can see this Fortunae here is actually really big. It's about 20 feet tall, and it's cool, but it's frustrating because it would be cooler if this dumb cedar tree wasn't here. But you know, it's fine because it's the neighbors. I can't do a lot with it other than just cleaning up the bottom. And I mean, the reality is if you go to any jungle type environment, this happens there too. So plants are fighting with other plants, and so it does give it a little bit more natural look, although it would be a lot cooler palm tree if it was sitting on its own. Got another Kong plant over here right next to this torch lily. This is a variety that blooms later in the year, so still no flowers. We've got another bamboo box over here. This is a different type of bamboo. The first that you saw is koi bamboo. This is Scabbard Bamboo. It's pretty much done growing for this year. You can see it almost looks like they're dried out or dying, but those are the sheaths that grow on the new shoots. And those will eventually fall off. Yeah, and you'll see over time the shoots will turn yellow when they come out. They're a really dark color, like a dark brown, dark purple color. They'll turn yellow as they age, and the sheaths will completely drop off. Right here we've got a Japanese maple, not really tropical, but this is a popular local tree. And this one I grew from seed from a tree at our last house. I took some seeds from it, started a couple of seedlings. This is the one that's left. It's about 6 feet tall, so it's doing pretty well. Over here we've got some lavender, English and French lavender. and a banana in the middle there. This appears to be Musa sikkimensis. That's what I bought it as. I was really unsure for a while, but it did start developing some red on the leaves, so it might be a Musa sikkimensis after all. This is another one. I put it out in the sun a little bit too fast, so you can see some of the older leaves are not happy, but that new one there on top is doing fine, and that's been in full sun its entire existence. Then we've got a bunch of shade-loving plants. I planted these this spring just to fill this area back in. Something's eating this guy. I've got probably slugs, so I'm gonna do some slug traps back here in the next week or two just to see if I can reduce the number of slugs back here and some of the damage happening to that plant. Need to deadhead that thing as well. Those flowers have been gone for a while. This is a flamboyant tree that I got recently. It did not have a good journey. It's lost most of its leaves and a bunch of it has dried out, but it's got a lot of new growth showing. You can see lots of new little branches and leaves starting to come out. So I'm not too concerned about it at this point. It'll fill in the coming weeks. Then these are the backup trees when the flamboyant fails or I don't get blooms. These two small trees here are Chilean fire trees. They actually look similar to a flamboyant, at least the flowers do when it's mature. The leaves look nothing alike, but that's fine. These are cold hardy and will survive my winters in zone 8. So that's kind of the backup plan. And we've got this Heliconia here. This is a lobster claw, another plant that I put out too fast. So some of the more mature leaves have dried up, but there's a lot of new growth on it. These will be fine. They just are a little bit ugly for now. There's still some green on a lot of the dried up leaves, so I'm leaving those on for now. I'll clean it up once there's some more new foliage on it. Then in the back here, we've got a blue java that's getting used to the sun. So this spot only gets a couple hours of sun a day before the monster rhododendron here puts it into shade for all of the afternoon. Then in the back behind the hot tub, we've got more bamboo. This is more koi bamboo. This is the original bamboo I bought for the yard. So it's about 4 years old. It's probably, the stuff on the right is about as tall as it's going to get in a box, but that still is about 13, 14 feet. So it's plenty tall enough to provide a good privacy screen. I will come thin this out a little bit once all the new shoots stop growing. It's growing right on the house there, so I'll take some of those out and thin the rest of it out just a little bit. Over here, we've got the mess of Calla Lilies. I really like these and the way that the leaves look, but I have this problem over here that they start to fall down. Part of it is the dog runs through them and breaks them, so that's a little bit problematic. I got to figure out something to do, though, to keep them a little nicer. We've got a Camerops here, little baby Camerops in a pot, and then a bunch of other random stuff. We bought so many different flowers. I don't know the names of all of them still, so some remembering to do there, but this thing's gonna look really cool. It's got one flower out. There's gonna be a ton of those flowers on this thing in the coming weeks. We've got a baby red Abyssinian banana here, also getting used to some sun. It gets mostly shade sitting behind this other pot, but we're getting it used to being out. And then this is a smaller Pindo Palm with a bunch of annuals planted in it just to flower out for the summer. This Pindo took a little bit of damage when I first put it out because the soil it was in was crappy and it got too wet, but is doing fine now. This is the experimental Musa Bastions patch, plus in the pot there's a blue java. This is where I did the corm division, and those are still growing. This is also where the plant that lived in the pot all winter that I thought was dead is growing. These Musa Bastions are super funky. If I just saw this, if you showed me a picture of this, I would tell you it's not a Musa Bastion because it's really bright green and it's got that dark red stripe in the middle of the leaf. But I can promise you these are Musa Bastions, and it might be a soil thing. I'm not positive, but I know other plants I have in the yard will be different colors based on the nutrients in the soil. So I don't know if the dog pees a lot over here, so I don't know if that is causing it to be the color that it is, but yeah, these are, everything in the ground is a Musa Bastion that I pulled from the other patch. Then we've got Canna Lilies back here. They're finally showing some height. These were really slow to get started this year just because of the cold spring, so they're way behind. Then we've got our just random collage of flowers and plants and grasses over here. A couple of highlights. This is Echinacea. There's two different colors here and growing lots of flowers. That'll be flowering for a while. The flowers are just now starting on that. Over here we've got some dianthus. This is the key lime pie variety. These are becoming some of my favorite plants in the backyard. They've got a ton of flowers. They've been flowering for six to 8 weeks now, and they'll keep flowering all summer and into the fall. They do have other varieties, other colors, so the CEO wants me to investigate adding some other colors of these as well. So we've got this grass here that's got a couple of flowers on it, and the other one on the other side also has a bunch of flowers. This grass, the new stuff, is super cool because it grows kind of fluorescent green. It almost looks fake. And then here's another elephant ear. This one is doing okay. It's in a spot now where it gets full sun. When I originally set it out, it was in a spot that got mostly shade. It was over where the Pygmy Day Palm is there in the corner, and it got shade almost all day. I'd pull it out into the sun there, but it started off slow, but it's doing pretty good now. Bunch of extra cottonwood in there. And then this is the elephant ear that's doing the best. I put them in different spots. This one started from the beginning in full sun, and you can see it's on a drip line, so it gets water automatically every day. It's pretty big for being brand new. Good sized leaves. And then we've got our random box of randomness. So we've got some sage in here. We've got this lupin. The lupin, I think, just took too much water. So we had some of the branches broke off because they just got too heavy from all the water. We've got some new growth coming in though, so I'm not overly concerned about it. Got this guy over here. I have no idea what that's even called. Basically, we put stuff that people give us in this box. So any type of plant that we get from anybody else goes in there. And then we've got, this is the first Windmill Palm that I bought. This came in a manila envelope 4 years ago. It was about 8 inches tall. And it's done really well so far in this pot. It's about 4 feet tall now. And again, it's about 4 years old. This gets full sun where it's at. It's been in this spot for 3 years now. And then we have its brother or sister over here. This came in the same manila envelope. This one gets full shade. So I'm going to do a video later to compare the two, but they're about the same size and same height, even though one's full sun, one's full shade. And that's it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about any of the specific plants that you saw, go ahead and drop them down below. Like and subscribe to see more on growing tropical and subtropical plants indoors and out in cold weather environments.